Hello everyone, welcome back to Planet Coaster, and welcome back to Wicker Man, of course, the run-to-one recreation in Planet Coaster. Today, in today's episode, it's going to be the brake run and the maintenance shed, and this is part of the ride where it's kind of boring, really, especially if you're just sitting there in the maintenance shed. There is like fire, not fire, but like fire blast effects as you go through these sound tunnels, so that's really good. It helps, but ultimately the maintenance shed is the most boring part of Wicker Man, and I'm not afraid to say that. At least with Mystic Timbers, they actually bothered to theme the maintenance shed up a bit, but they put in a projection, they added some music, they themed up a little bit. Wicker Man, not much, and it's kind of disappointing when you got a really, really well themed ride like Wicker Man and then you put nothing in the maintenance shed. It's disappointing. I would have liked to put something in the maintenance shed, but this recreation is staying realistic, it's staying accurate, which means it's basically going to be empty. But yeah, so you'll see me here do, I'm not entirely sure what this is. It's like a smaller shed, really. I think it might be the entrance into the maintenance shed, maybe like a hallway into it. I'm not entirely sure what this small building here actually is, but it is, of course, there in real life, which is why I'm building it in Planet Coaster. Of course, getting those pre-built walls just to help. And for those of you who've been to Alton Towers in real life and you've gone up the path alongside the maintenance shed here, the path that goes towards Catania Canyon, and you would know that it's on an incline, and it's on an incline alongside the maintenance shed, and with the restrictive tools of the terrain in Planet Coaster, the terrain tools, it was quite difficult to do, but in the end I did get a smooth gradient, and I think I just did that with just keep doing raising terrain at about like a 4 meter radius, flatten terrain at 4 meter, and then smooth it all. Of course, here I'm doing the foundations for it using the concrete columns, and yeah, you might have noticed that the time lapse kind of the FPS went down a bit. Now that is because of the autosave in the game, and unfortunately you can't turn the autosave off, but Wicker Man has the park file of Wicker Man is really, really large, that when it autosaves, it normally takes around 20 seconds, the game freezes, and I just have to wait for it, really. I selected Scenery Group 1, which is Scenery Group for the station and scenery around the ride, and that Scenery Group alone has 34,000 pieces already, and I haven't even done the shop yet. There's still a lot more scenery to do, so this is going to be one huge park file, and the FPS has gone down on my end, but it isn't ultimately destroyed just yet, thankfully. And yeah, so if the Big Bob structure is around 4,000 pieces, and that's another 34,000 for Scenery Group 1. Scenery Group 2, which is foundations and supports, I think that has around maybe around 1,000 pieces on that, so that's 34,000, 38,000, 39,000, so that's around a total of 39,000 pieces already on Wicker Man, and I still need to do the shop, I still need to do other scenery around the ride. There is a lot more stuff to do. Progress is going well with Wicker Man. I've definitely been doing a lot more recently, and but yeah, it doesn't mean it's near completion. There is still quite a bit to do. For when I want to get Wicker Man released, I really do want to get Wicker Man released within the last week of May. or the first week of June. That is when I want to get this recreation done and out, because you know, I want to do other projects on Planet Coaster, and I don't just want to abandon this like I've done in the past. For those of you who've been subscribed for a while, you probably know there's a lot of projects that I've done where I've just abandoned because I got bored of them. I didn't want to do them anymore. I think a few of these I'll list now. Studio Atlantica, I got bored of that. Belton Park, got bored of that. Loakin Lake, got bored of that. Most recently, Magnificent Adventures, I've gotten bored of that. I get bored very, very easily when doing a project, but Wicker Man has been such a rewarding project to do, if that makes sense, and it's mainly because of, you know, it's the challenge in getting it completely accurate and one-to-one. Yeah, you will have to make sacrifices because of the restrictions of Planet Coaster, but it's been a challenge to do Wicker Man, and I think that's why, you know, I keep on doing it, because when I just build my normal parts or my normal projects, you know, I do it within the rules of Planet Coaster, you know, so it makes it easy to build. But recreations, you know, there are some parts of it in real life that you just can't do in Planet Coaster, and you have to figure out how you're going to do that in Planet Coaster. And I had an idea a couple months ago of doing Darren Brown's Ghost Train, and I thought to myself, how am I going to do Darren Brown's Ghost Train? You know, there's no VR in Planet Coaster, there's no VR ride, and so I came up with an idea of maybe let's do a coaster and have that coaster go around the scenes of Darren Brown, like a tracked start ride, and actually have it with the scenes, and I came up with that idea. In the end, I didn't do Darren Brown, I did Wicker Man instead, and it's purely because I feel like in the idea, in my head, the idea was probably really good, but then when you actually do it in the game, it turns out, yeah, this isn't gonna go as well as I thought it would. And that's the thing with Planet Coaster a lot of the time. When I think of something to do with Planet Coaster, you know, a ride to build, a coaster to do, some scenery, you know, you think of it in your head, you get the ideas built up, and then when you actually come to build it in Planet Coaster, you realise, I might have overthought it a little. And yeah, and that's really what makes a good builder in Planet Coaster. You do need to learn the rules of Planet Coaster. You need to learn what you can do and what you can do in order to bypass these rules. I know there's a lot of people out there who use the coconut pieces for planters, even though there are planters in the game that they added a couple updates ago. People still use the coconut pieces, and I'm one of them. I'm sure some of you have probably seen on the time lapse, you know, there's even in Wicker Man, the dirt grassy area around the front, the entrance, you know, that uses the coconut pieces. And it's just because some pieces in Planet Coaster you just can't use, you know, they're there for that purpose, but you can't use them because they don't look like what you want it to look like, if you get what I mean. And yeah, so let's stop talking about that. Here you'll see me do the well, kind of, yeah, the brake run. Let's just call it the brake run. And this was fairly easy to do, to be completely honest, because in real life it is just these curtains and the wooden beams going across the top with fluorescent lights. Now the fluorescent lights I use in a minute. You're not going to see it now, but in a minute I do use fluorescent lights from the VMaker's Toolkit. I can't remember who made them, but if you want those pieces, I know someone asked for them in the previous episode I used them, which was the Live 2 episode. There will be a link in the description to these fluorescent light pieces on the Steam Workshop. These are toolkit items, of course. And yeah, so those lights aren't really turned on, but unfortunately the maker of them, whoever modelled them, they made it so that they're always turned on, but they don't actually give off light, and it looked quite odd, but you know, it looks good anyway, so doesn't really matter that much to me. But yeah, so just doing the flooring here, and I thought about doing the interior of the maintenance shed, to be completely honest, but the reality is, you know, there's not a lot of video or photos of the interior of the maintenance shed, and I feel like it would just be a waste of time to do it, to be completely honest. Mainly because, you know, people aren't going to really look there. You know, when you lost my train of thought. When you go on the ride, you know, the curtains are blocking the view, so you're not going to see it anyway, so what's the point in doing it, really? There's not really a point. What was I going to say? Oh yeah, I've lost it. I've lost my train of thought. Right, let's just go on to what I'm doing now. So once again, using the pre-built wall pieces that I've done, and yeah, I feel like this is actually a really good thing to do when you're building in Planet Coaster, is just to make pre-built pieces off to the side and then use them throughout your build. I feel like it saves a lot of time, and it really can help out in places you don't expect them to. And yeah, I feel like you should do that. I know Euphra's, I think that's how you pronounce his name, he does that a lot. He like outlines his buildings with, you know, plain white walls, and then he makes like pre-built wall pieces, and he uses those to do his buildings in Planet Coaster. And yeah, I feel like it does just make the whole process much quicker and just easier to do, really. So yeah, so one thing I really got angry about while I was building this was I realised that the sound tunnel going into the maintenance shed isn't centre, but it is centre in real life, and that's something I just can't fix, really. In order to fix that, I would have to completely change the brake run track, and unfortunately we're just too far ahead on this recreation now to go back and change the track layout. So yeah, unfortunately that's kind of thing you have to accept when recreating in Planet Coaster, but you know, you can't really notice it that much, but it's there, it's not centered, and it does kind of piss me off a little bit. So yeah, doing this side of the maintenance shed now, once again just using these generic all pieces I did, and now in real life, Wicker Man has the exit going up some stairs across the well, not across, but over the sound tunnel going into the station, and then down the stairs to the baggage hold where you pick your bags up after your ride. And I was thinking, how am I gonna do this? Because in Planet Coaster, you can only have your entrances and exits to either side of the station. You can't have it on the same side that the track is exiting and entering the station, unfortunately. And that is how it is in real life in Alton Towers. And so I was kind of thinking, you know, maybe just leave the exit there to the side, let the guests go there instead, like I did with Sword Ride Recreation, you know, because Sword Ride Recreation, whilst the exit is to the side, it is very narrow, and you know, the paths just aren't narrow enough to do that in Planet Coaster. And so what I did with Sword Ride, I just made an exit gate, and the guests will just despawn when they go through that exit gate. So you know, it's kind of a win-win, really. But yeah, so Steve Brown on Twitter, I think it was. Let me check actually if it actually was Steve Brown. Yeah, it was Steve Brown. He actually suggested to me on Twitter when I shared a POV of Wicker Man, which, if you want to see that POV, a link will be down in the description. It's on r/Planet Coaster on Reddit, and he's actually suggested with his Wicker Man recreation, he put the exit in the middle of the station, and then did a path going back into the station, and then out and up the stairs to the side. And yeah, I feel like I might do that now, to be completely honest, because you know, it will basically make the guests go up the stairs. I feel like I'm probably going to have to use the 2-meter path trick in order to actually get the narrow stairs. If it's not narrow enough, if the stairs aren't narrow enough, I will just leave the exits to how it was with Sword Ride. So here you'll just see me do the roofing, you know, with the pre-built roof tiles I already have. And now I don't recommend you use these individual roof tiles for your roofs in your Planet Coaster parks. I would only recommend doing this if it's just like a single ride, like a single coaster or recreation, because when you use these roof tile pieces for like every roof in your park, it's really gonna ruin the FPS and just ultimately ruin your park, really. But yeah, so only use this roof tile method in smaller projects like Wicker Man or Wind Force I did a couple weeks back. And so now it's the sound tunnel last clip of the time lapse. And recently on the Theme Makers Toolkit workshop, I found these concrete slabs. Once again, there will be a link in the description where you can download these. And it turns out these were really good pieces for the sound tunnel. I was really surprised by how good they were. So this is basically all the episode is now. So I'll leave you with this, and I'm gonna sign off now. So thank you for watching today's episode of Wicker Man. Enjoy the rest of the time lapse, and I will see you all very soon. Goodbye.